Hey, it's Brian Mudd. This is my cheat sheet for Wednesday, July 25th. 30-year fixed-rate mortgages, a new benchmark all-time low. As I'm recording this, just before 5 o'clock this morning, rates this morning hitting 3.5%. 3.5%. This is staggering on several different fronts. I mean, first, we've never been here before, but here's the other thing. For most people, if you can shave 1% off of your interest rate on a mortgage, that's going to be worth your while. If you're carrying hundreds of thousands of dollars as your balance, less than that, in some cases as little as 0.5% more. So basically, if you have a mortgage and you're north of 4%, really at all, you really could look into today seeing if you can take advantage of 3.5% and save money by refi. I mean, who would have ever thought you would get a 4.5% mortgage, let alone be able to refi that thing down to 3.5% or a little bit more. Now remember the difference between interest rate and APR. APR is the most important number. It's got everything in there. It's got your interest rate, any points accumulation, whatever else. So APR is what you need to be focused on. You don't want to try to compare an interest rate to an APR. You won't have the same read. But anyway, carrying a balance, or if you're looking to buy, one more ultra compelling reason why, if you're going to be in place for 3 years or longer and you have the wherewithal to be able to buy, it simply makes sense to do so, in my opinion. Housing is the lone turnaround story in the economy right now. Speaking of which, even Apple's not. There's a lot you can learn from Apple's earnings report yesterday. Number one, they're the largest company in the world, so what happens with them simply matters more than what happens with any other company. In fact, 19% of the entire NASDAQ index is Apple, largest component of the S&P 500 and everything else because of their size and scale. Here's what we learned. They actually sold fewer Macs, and their sales dropped in terms of iPhones in Asia. Now, sales are still huge. They still are doing more than $10 billion in revenue per month. I mean, it's an unbelievably high number. But it was a disappointing earnings report, though I wasn't terribly surprised. While I didn't do it on air because I don't want anybody trading on my inclination about what's going on, I expected Apple's iPhone sales to come in weaker than people were anticipating. And there's one really big reason. It's the economy, stupid. And even Apple's not immune. Plus, you got the new product cycle with the iPhone 5 coming out later this year, which means, by the way, Apple's next quarter isn't going to be any better, really, because what's the catalyst? It's going to be the absolute last quarter with the old iPhone, the iPhone 4S. It's weird to say that something that's less than a year old is old, isn't it? Anyway, but if Apple is seeing declining sales in Asia and are otherwise struggling, then it is a very difficult economic climate we're in. Because the one thing we know is that we as consumers worldwide will buy Apple stuff. So that is a real takeaway. Even Apple, this time around, was not immune from the economy, which means that retailers in general, electronics companies in general, are in for a really, really tough second half of the year. And the stock market, well, 3 consecutive triple point down days in a row, ain't getting any better after this earnings report. Apple alone can accumulate some losses that will be rather significant today, assuming that it does get the sell-off that is anticipated based upon the disappointing earnings report. Now, there were a couple interesting spots in Apple's report. One was education. More schools are buying into the idea of their educational books and buying the iPad to put it in place. That could be an area of growth to look towards going forward. I got another story on the cheat sheet about News Corp and AT&T coming together in an educational tablet. Olympics. The Olympics are going to be streamed. Every last one of the events. There are like 32 or 36 Olympic Games. Every one of them. Like even, a third world country participating in a sport you never heard of. Even that will be streamed. You can get everything you want. You aren't at the mercy of whatever they're showing on a TV station for once. So that's kind of cool. But the thing is, they will have it at 9 different television stations. They're going to have streaming coverage on their website. They're going to have apps. If you want to get the streaming coverage for free, you can, but you've got to use the username and password, have that on the ready, from your traditional cable or satellite provider, because you have to prove that you already pay for MSNBC and CNBC. As long as you do that, you can get as much streaming content, watch whatever you want, absolutely free. The instructions on my physical cheat sheet, how to get that done. I got plenty of other stories I would like to talk about, but you'll find those on the physical cheat sheet. Go check them out. We'll see you tomorrow.